A cup of coffee and a bad idea brought to you by the internet. I have seen people talk about this myth for years in the car community. For $8, let's try it. Now let me be very clear. We are not working on a vehicle we care about. This is Jesse's Equinox. It's a 2013. It's the 1 year that had a smog pump that burns out and kills the PCM and makes the vehicle unable to be traded in or fixed. It has 176,000 miles on it. And if you know anything about these engines that like to eat their oil, the fact it made it past 80,000 miles is a miracle in itself. The tires are bald. We just need to get it past an inspection, put some tires on it, and get a year out of it. These Chevy Equinoxes have fake plastic rocker panels on the outside, like a lot of the Subarus and a few others. So if we grab this and we pop it open, we'll find the real rocker panel underneath. And as you can see, it is obliterated. And what you're going to find on these is everything behind here is probably obliterated also. Luckily, these are a central unibody, which means that the rocker panel actually protects the inner unibody frame rail. So as long as you catch it before it rots out the inner unibody, you should be okay. First rule to buying a Chevy: buy new lug nuts that even when they rust, stay exactly the same size for the last 5 years. Thanks, Chevy, for your two-piece lug nut stupidity. Modern day cars love these self-destructing body clips that they use nowadays. Buy yourself a kit that has this type in it. I'll even post a link down below along with everything else I'm using in this video. But if you get these from the auto parts store that have the Phillips that are about 50-50 that you can get them off the next time you need to, you can make your own tool just using a washer and cutting a slot in it, but you have to make sure that you grind that down. As you can see, it makes kind of a little bit of a chisel right there. And then you can do it on your own. You can make it in any shape, handle, whatever. As you can see, this one's actually offset on purpose. That lets me curve up and around the inside of the wheel well. I've got several of these in different angles. There we are. We got a line there to mark one end of the template, and a line right there. Good old Dollar General paint marker. And our cereal box, which is going to go right there, so that way we know where our edges are. Now I'm gonna bet this probably falls apart as we cut into it, so that's why I marked all the way up so that I can follow that line down later. As far as this is concerned, that's easy enough to template once we get this piece in and we figure out some sort of continuation from here. Got a piece cut off with a pair of scissors. Been experimenting here because I did not expect this to be able to stick to rust. And as I expected, it didn't. It fell right out the first piece that I was monkeying with and everything. But I do know that JB Weld Quick Weld, the 6-minute version dark gray, will bond anything you want to solid rust? Question mark. And so I grabbed this and cut out a piece, threw a little bit of that on, and we have stuccoed it on the inside there so that we can make that inner curve that you guys can't see because I can't get a camera in there. And that seems to have held. So in the interest of seeing if we can make this actually stick like it's supposed to, I've grabbed some Rust-Oleum high-performance enamel. We have coated everything in Rust-Oleum. We're going to blast the shop up to temp. We're going to let this flash off, and we're going to see if this will actually stick to it. Because basically I've got to build it from the back to the front. So the next thing I've got to do, now that I got that piece in there, is I got to make the piece that goes from here, comes down, and then goes to here on the inside, and then everything else is going to come back and attach to that piece. There is nothing overly sexy about that by any means, but the sticky tape and backing of this is sticky and actually stayed the entire time while I did the fiberglassing. I didn't have to clamp it in place, didn't have to screw it, didn't have to do any of that stuff. Now, we've got this piece that we had already templated out, and what I'm debating right now is, once that fiberglass dries, this is not exactly big enough for this. So, I don't know. I'm thinking that we kind of overlap it like this, so that we can bend this up in order to stick it on that bottom edge right in there. I don't know why that won't focus, but you get the idea. Right there where the green is, that edge continues over. So I'm wondering if this stuff will stick to itself as good as it did the Rust-Oleum paint. I'll post a link for a previous video that I did about rocker panel replacement using some heater duct pipe. But one of the common things I got asked was, how did I bend it? Well, basically I got a vise, I got a straight edge, I clamp it down, and I just very gently progress down through, massaging it from one side to the other. And it's just that simple. Now, granted, when I did it with a piece of heat duct, it was also about out to here, and I had to use a rubber mallet, but I just progressively went down through bending it and took my time. You don't need any special tools. You're going to coat the whole stupid thing in Bondo or fiberglass anyway. You're just trying to get the vehicle fixed and passed inspection. Stop worrying about perfection and just get it done. Well, that looks pretty good, but we won't know until we take the paper off and see if it'll fit on there. So we're going to do that live right now. So let's see here. And again, this entire thing is an experiment. I'm learning as I go, just like you guys are. Trying something new. I'm sure the player haters are all in the comments section saying how stupid this idea is and bad, and I'm going to get somebody killed because I didn't fix the car correctly and all of that. But for those of us that understand what it's like to just try to get through one more year of inspection, I really honestly think this might work out pretty good. I've got a spot there that's not quite lining up. Then I'm going to have to probably do some funky stuff with a Dremel tool or something. Can I get that to stick right there? Maybe. And then get that to go in, and then I'll have to do something to get that to stick there. Roll that over into the paint, maybe. Because there's a weird body line in here that I've got to work with. And then fold this up and over. Fold this over. Yeah, I'd say that's actually looking pretty good. It is not sticking to itself as good as it stuck to the paint by any means. In fact, it's sticking to the paint, but it won't stick to itself. Honestly, I think I'm going to probably cheat. I think I'm going to put a self-tapper right through that and then cut it off. That way I know for sure it stays. I think this might actually work. I was really skeptical, but this actually might end up working. The one side thing that I haven't quite decided on is that, see, I use these Torx head self-tappers because you can grind them down so that they're basically just the base. And this warps really easily. And so I managed to mess it up in 3 different spots just trying to put a self-tapper into it. It may have been easier to do this with rivets. And that's hard for me to say because I don't tend to like using rivets. But this actually probably would have been better to do with rivets. So I'm going to make up a big old batch of fiberglass. I've already double checked that the door closes and it's happy. And we're going to skim coat this with fiberglass and go from there.
Apologies for the voice. I had an allergic reaction to something, so this episode is brought to you by Barry White. I can tell right now that I can see the edge right there, so I'm going to have to redo it from here to here at least. I can also see right there, somehow I missed that. So at this point, there's not much to say other than a 60 grit flap disc, a mask, and shut up and get it done. And plan ahead on being able to take a shower afterwards. This stuff is going to be embedded in your hair. It's going to be embedded in the edge of your eyes and make them itch. It just sucks. So I've got a shirt that I don't care about that I can throw right directly into the wash. You get the idea. This stuff just sucks. Plan ahead. Here we are with door fitment check number 3 in this project. Make sure in between steps to check the door. It's so easy to forget and get ahead of yourself. So right there, that looks perfectly fine. There's no bulging out the bottom. And the thing is, if this is bulging back here, where you're going to see it's actually going to be the fitment right in here. It's going to contort this in, and it won't affect anything else for the most part. So, I'll get this popped open. I'll show you where we're at right now. There we go. That is ugly, but it will hold and it'll get us past an inspection for 1 more year on this vehicle. Now do keep in mind, we could finish this off. Like, if this was up in here, then what I would do at this point is this low section, I would fiberglass back in 1 more time. And then I would come across the whole entire thing, and then I would glaze it with some putty if I really wanted to, and I'd blend it all up into here, and it would look pretty as could be. Cover it with some truck bed liner or some undercoating or something, and it would never matter. Up in here, you'd have to go and blend it back in, and it would be obvious, but at least it would look like you cared. And that's the big thing about most inspections. If it looks like you attempted and you gave a damn, they'll usually pass it. If it just looks like you threw it on and drank too many beers and got too drunk to finish, they'll usually fail it. What I do is I put all the undercoating on and immediately put the rubber bottom piece on, because then it binds to the undercoating, because every one of those little plastic pieces becomes brittle and it just acts as 1 more thing to glue it together. But as you can see, it is on, it is all set, and it will pass inspection. I have to go get my kid from school in a couple of hours, and we're going to call this one done.
Alright, so what's my takeaway on all of this? Did it work? The answer is yes. Would I ever do it again? Only to a vehicle like this one that I just need to get a year out of. It is nowhere near as structural as the heating duct repair that I did on the Ford Ranger. That vehicle actually stayed on the road for 2 years passing inspection after I did that, and it actually is still perfectly fine. You can walk up and tap it with your toe and everything. This, on the other hand, if a snowbank ever happens to catch that spot, it's going to cave it right in. There's no structure. Now, I do have a theory as to where I think that this method came from, if it really actually existed. I can't seem to find any photos of anybody ever finding this stuff, even though I've heard the stories. It used to be on a lot of like the K1500s and stuff like that, that the cabs would rot out right where the curvature was. And the curvature on those cabs was very close to a large beer can. So what a lot of people would do is they'd take a large beer can, they'd JB weld the snot out of it, and they'd stuff it into the corner, and then they would fiberglass over the top of the beer can, which is actually a playoff on the old bean can method in order to do the same thing. It's just aluminum doesn't rot back out. And so that's why it adapted into being done with aluminum beer cans. And I've literally seen rocker panels on round rocker panels where you go to knock a piece out of it and the whole rocker panel is just glued in beer cans. So that's where I think that this method came from. Would I do it again? Only to pass an inspection on a vehicle I didn't care about, and I also would never put it anywhere that you might potentially lean against or anywhere that you might potentially sit on the vehicle or something, because it would crush instantly. I can actually walk out where the fiberglass is and I can poke, and with a little bit of pressure I can deform it just a tiny bit, so it would crush if it got hit or sat on. Anyways, this was an experiment. I think if I could find some of those drywall patches that were a tad bit thicker metal, I would trust it a little bit more. But for $8, and it basically was like being in 3rd grade doing paper mache in art class, I think it was a pretty cool experiment. Total cost, by the time you factor in maybe a 1/4 can of paint and the 1/3 of a can of Bondo that I used, I'd say I'm into it for about $25. If I get another year out of the car, $25 is a pretty good investment. Alright guys, thanks for watching and hope this helped out somebody.